These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording at 1:30 in the morning.
This is terrible.
Technically Thursday, May 18th. But a few hours after the Celtics lost game 1 to the Miami Heat. We had to wait for me to get home because the game started 8:30 now, so I don't have time to record at the Garden and catch my train back. Not fun. Shame on the NBA, though. We're not going to do Ratless today because we don't have time, but the NBA and the Ratless are making all the games.
Ratless NBA, Ratless YouTube TV, Ratless Celtics.
Yes. But yeah, Celtics lost game 1 again. Not great.
Same shit, different day. They just can't have a series where they don't make us all sit here and sweat. Celtics 13-point lead in this game. Celtics turn into me and the boys. Celtics lose the game. Where have you seen that before? It's the same thing. It's every time. 46 points they gave up in the third quarter. Embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with the fact that they gave up a 13-point lead. Right? That's not ideal.
I do.
I have a problem with the fact that they just didn't play defense. And their offense was bad too. And it's the same as Philly game 1. You can look at the split and say, oh, it's fine. No, the offense was stupid. Right? And again, the defense is the focus. So we'll start there. But you blow leads, whatever, right? This Heat team has been going on runs, I'll say, whatever. But you win this game if you just play defense for the whole game, right? Like if you just play consistent defense the whole game, you don't give up 46 points, in the third quarter. They had, I think it was 10 points off fast second chance points in the third quarter. They allowed 9 fast break points. They allowed 8 off turnovers. It was a disaster. And before the series, we'd said something, I think Bobby Kravitsky said it, something along the lines of, you just hope the Celtics' worst night coincides with the Heat's best night. And unfortunately, that feels like part of what happened tonight. The issue is it's game 1. I don't know if I trust them to bounce back, even though they have in the past. It's just frustrating that they seem determined to start out like this every time.
Yeah, I don't know what the obsession is with not learning from your mistakes. And then they come out and have like the sorrow circle jerk in their post games where they're like, we need to be better. I don't know why we didn't come out with any energy, blah, blah, blah. Like, shouldn't you know by now? It's the, 4th, 5th time we've had a loss like this is, fans to react to in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, get it together. At some point you have to like mentally be there to compete. This is a team, Miami, that is where they're at because they have such a great mindset. It's not necessarily because they're extremely talented. Butler's fantastic. The rest of them are whatever. Bam's fine. But, like, the rest of these guys are really, like, whatever. It's true. It's not disrespectful.
They're good role players. They play their role well, but they're not, like, stars. They're not, like, people that should be beating you in a playoff series.
Exactly. Like, these guys are fine. That's what they are. Mm-hmm. The Celtics have a deep team. They have 2 all-NBA guys. They've got Marcus, who was the defensive player of the year last year. He was excellent today.
Yep.
The best part about today is Marcus is having a masterclass, and then they're like, we're just not going to use him anymore. We're just going to not run offense through him anymore. He has 11 assists.
Well,
no, we're not going to initiate offense through him anymore.
What's even worse, and Tatum had a bad stretch in the fourth quarter where he turned the ball over. Yes. Tatum played fine tonight. Outside of that little stretch, like Tatum had a good game. And all I'm seeing, like, I know friends of the show, Danny and Liam, texting me like, oh, Tatum's back. I'm like, guys, this is not the person to blame for the loss night. You blame the defense, and you blame Jaylen Brown and Malcolm Brogdon for deciding it's the old quote, Jaylen Brown. It's Jaylen Brown time, Jaylen Brown. Same thing for Malcolm Brogdon. They just decided, we're just going to put our heads down and do whatever we want. And you can love the Celtics driving to the basket all you want. It was great. When Tatum did it, it was awesome. You can love them, mixing in some mid-range shots. It was just bad offensive shot selection by Brown and Malcolm Brogdon. They called their number time and time again. And like you said, they decided, Marcus Smart just had 10 assists in the first half. Nah, we don't need that anymore. Jason Tatum's having a ton of success going to the rim, handling the ball. Nah, we don't need that. Like, and obviously we're going to keep talking about the defense too, because there's stuff I want to talk about there. But like, what is that offensive philosophy? It's exactly what we saw in game 1 against the Sixers. And once again, as much as it's not the main purpose, you shot less than 33s. And that's not a product of you chucking up random threes. That's a product of you not playing drive and kick basketball. It is one person gets the ball, they drive to the hoop, take a stupid shot in the paint, turn the ball over, or take a dumb mid-range shot. Jaylen Brown was obsessed with taking contested threes. And one look at the box score and you're like, oh, Jaylen Brown shot actually pretty efficient tonight. He took the most shots. He shot 47% from the field. 1 of 6 from 3. 6 turnovers, Jaylen Brown. He did not play well. Bad from Jaylen. Malcolm Brogdon, oh, he was pretty efficient. Tunnel vision the whole game. No sense. For all the times we say Jaylen Brown should be taking more shots, the fact that Jason Tatum only took 17 in this one and Jaylen Brown took 21 is obscene. There's no reason for it. Jason Tatum took 0 shots in the fourth quarter. Why? Their offensive decision making makes no sense. And then going back to defense, because I don't want this to turn into just. I feel like I've become the offense is better guy, but defensively, the Celtics just decided, so Jimmy Butler's killing us in the mid range. Let's just double team him and leave Max Strus open in the corner. Let's just double team him and leave Caleb Martin open in the corner. It's like that when will you learn meme? Like, why? Like, we learned last round when Jaylen Brown double teamed off James Harden.
That's the whole thing. And then they come out and say, we're sorry. And then they're not.
We'll be better. And then they're not. And
we'll be better. We didn't have it today. We played this like a regular season game. Like, what?
And you have to give, I'll give some semblance of credit. Like, Jimmy Butler is making some stupidly tough shots.
Right? Miami played a good game.
That's what he does. But, you can live with them making tough shots if you play good defense on the rest of the possessions. But they didn't do that. They left 3-point shooters open. They let Bam get more open looks in the restricted area than I've ever seen in my life. How does that happen? How does he get open that many times in the same spot?
Bam, who looked lost in the first round, by the way.
Makes
he
no
literally
sense.
could do nothing offensively, and he was excellent.
And hey, I credit Bam. He played well. You credit Jimmy for having a great game. Max Strus, 15 points. Gabe Vincent, 15 points. Kyle Lowry, 15 points. Caleb Martin, 15 points. You're not going to win games like that. You just can't win games like that. It's not okay. They're completely unable to stick to a defensive game plan that works. In the second quarter there, they were playing with some great intensity. Right? They were playing one-on-one with Jimmy Butler.
They looked awesome
double teams at the right time. They came out good. And then out of a halftime, they were just like, nah. They're just like,
they looked so good in the first half. I didn't even think about taking insurance. I was like, oh my God, they're playing through Marcus. When they play through Marcus, they're at their best. He's got 10 assists at halftime, ends up with a double-double. I don't know. Did anyone ask him if Marcus got hurt?
I think he did tweak something, but I'm not sure. No one asked.
The hell they send you guys these games for?
Well, Sam, in our defense, there was plenty more to talk about in this one. I mean, come on.
Hey, why did you guys not try? You guys just ask him every game.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he hurt himself. It was weird. He was out for a really long time, went back to the locker room. They didn't say anything.
I don't get the Malcolm Brogdon obsession. Right? Like, he's fine. He's fine for a shooter and a bucket getter.
I mean, he took the third most shots on the team tonight, made half.
I
missed
don't
2
care.
free throws, turned the ball over once.
I don't care.
I don't know. He wasn't great. I don't get the Brogdon slander too much. I didn't think he was great defensively. I thought he got picked on, but
he should not be getting the ball over Jason Tatum or even have the ball in his hands over Marcus Smart. It's ridiculous.
He stayed, if you really want to complain, he stayed in the game over Derek White, who I thought was pretty good in the fourth quarter.
Like he's I've been saying it all season. He's the third best guard on this team, and that's not a slight. They just have good guards, but they're playing him like a first option. Malcolm Brogdon playing on the court with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown is the equivalent of a Kemba Walker, Kyrie Irving type player, which we've seen doesn't work consistently. Malcolm Brogdon is fine for what he is, but from what we've seen from him, he's not a primary playmaker. That's just not his role. He's not comfortable doing that because he calls his own number too much. That's where you need Marcus Smart. That's where you need Derek White, somebody comfortable running the offense and deferring to the Jays. Also, stop letting Jaylen Brown run the offense. It doesn't work. Please just stop. No, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I saw a lot of people complaining about Joe Mazzulla's lack of timeouts too. And I get it in this context when they're on the runs. But
they didn't have any timeouts. I was it was happening, and I was looking at the scoreboard where they show how many timeouts. They had 3 timeouts left. It's like, what do you want?
Joe Mazzulla said after the game, they asked him, he's like, I called 2 in the first quarter. And then someone was like, well, what about third? He goes, if I didn't have to call 2 in the first, then they would have called 1 in the third. Like, and Marcus Smart actually had a good quote on the Jaylen Brown thing. He goes, Joe's real big on not bailing us out when we play like shit. Got to look in the mirror. Joe could call a timeout, and then what? We come out and we do the same thing. You know, the coaches and Joe aren't out there playing. And he's right. Like, what do you want him to do sometimes? And as much as I blame it, Joe for that, it is what it is. And you know what? If you're gonna blame Joe for something, why the fuck is Grant Williams not playing? It makes no sense whatsoever. Why did Peyton Pritchard get how many minutes did he play? He played 11 minutes off the bench tonight. Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. What the fuck? What is that? That's what I'm mad at Joe. The rotation makes no sense. You're bringing 3 guards off the bench.
Yeah,
What?
I mean,
what against the Miami team that's bringing Cody
I
Zeller,
thought Pritchard
Caleb
was
Martin?
a weird pick for this game.
No sense.
I don't really know what Grant adds. I don't know. He has this weird thing with Grant where he just won't play him.
Exactly. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense.
But at the same time, like Grant hasn't been very good.
Grant was fine in the Philly series. He was good
He
on
literally
defense. He played solid.
He was terrible in game 5. He played
got
like a
like
minute
2
and he was
minutes.
horrible.
Out of any like the whole series, other
he
than that,
played
he was
so
fine.
bad in those 2 minutes, it was like completely justified like not to play him.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you just take him out of the rotation for the whole fucking rest of the series. Jason
He's
Tatum played
been
like
in and out
shit
of
for
the
6
rotation.
games.
Like this isn't new. It's
Grant
not like
Williams
today
has
he
had-
just decided not to play him.
Grant Williams has had
The
one
story
bad
is
game this
Pritchard.
postseason. Yeah,
The best thing
Pritchard
about the
over
Celtics
Williams.
is they couldn't get a stop, so they put in the smallest guard they had.
Yeah, so who should you put in? Maybe the fucking guy on your bench who can play defense.
Or
And
just
you can
your
you can
starting
point to
point guard is
one-
playing the best game he might have played. Well, he played a great game 6. But like one of the best games he's played like in the whole playoffs, and you're playing an extra guard today.
I don't care.
Why?
The Grant Williams thing makes no sense. As much as he struggled in those minutes, he's been one of their better defenders for the majority of the postseason. He's had one bad game when he's played. Other than that, he played great against Atlanta. He defended Embiid well. At the very least, he'll fucking help you up your intensity because no one was trying out there. All right, you get him out there, give him a spark. Playing Pritchard over him makes no sense.
I hope I'm wrong, but I mean, I don't know if Grant's moving the needle tonight or not. I don't know.
I don't know
He
if he would've
could. I
either.
could be wrong.
He would have been better than Pritchard.
What
is my
extra
point.
is he going to give you?
Defense.
I just don't think they had to play Pritchard at all. I think they should have played Rob more. He only played 26 minutes. He was excellent in the first half.
Play Rob Moore, play Grant, play fucking Hauser. Pritchard made no sense tonight. This was not like out of all the games you could have played Pritchard. Didn't make any sense.
I thought Miami was pretty hot shooting the ball today. The stats
Of course,
agree.
yeah.
You know, big think for me with my
Also,
mush brain.
Like I said it against Philly, and I think a lot of people got mad at me in the comments. You're not going to win a game where you take less threes than Miami. Like that's just not
you know
how the
you win
Celtics
a
play
game
basketball.
against Miami.
I know,
like
I know,
this,
I
'cause
know.
You don't
Play
give up
defense.
123 points.
I know.
I don't care about the threes today.
I know, but I'm
don't.
going to talk about it anyways because like
This is stupid. It's so stupid.
It's just like they go like
They shot 2 less threes in Miami,
yes, but that's not how they
and
play.
they shot 34%.
Miami historically doesn't play well from 3, and the Celtics just like
In the
their
playoffs,
offensive
they
game
do.
plan just made
In
the
this playoffs,
Celtics-
they've been good.
the Celtics offensive game plan just made no sense though. Like it just like there was no drive and kick. It was all drive, turn the ball over,
True.
drive, take a mid-range shot, drive,
True.
do nothing. And Jason Tatum played fine when he got in the paint. Like those drives are good, but when you're driving with no plan, like Brown, Brogdon, and the rest of the team did all night, that's where the problem lies. Marcus Smart was fine, Jason Tatum was fine, but like I'm not sitting here calling, oh, Jason Tatum, go take a million more step back threes. Like Jason Tatum took 3 threes tonight, and as much as that's probably even still low for him. Like even you would think that's a little low for Jason Tatum, right? You should probably want around 5 or 6. But regardless, like you look at who
Fine
else
with it.
shot. Look at who else shot threes tonight. Like it just makes no sense. Their shot mix. They need like
This
you've
isn't on
gotta do what
Tatum.
you're better at.
But I really wish they made more free throws. They missed 7, lost by 7.
Mhm.
Don't like that.
Yeah, that I
Um,
do.
I don't know. I get what you're saying with the ball movement. Maybe the ball movement wasn't there. They only had
just didn't
22
play-
assists.
They didn't play their style of offense. It's the same thing that happened in the Philly series. And obviously, I'm not sitting here saying, this is more important than the defense. Obviously, the defense is more important. That's the problem.
Anytime things don't go this team's way, they melt. That's
In
the problem.
in
And it
8 of their
affects both sides of the ball.
in 8 of their 14 games this playoff run, they have allowed 115 or more points, and they are 2-6 in those games. In the other 6, when they've allowed less than that, they're 6-0. There's the fucking trend for you.
Yeah, try.
However, the point I'm trying to make is at the same time, they just completely abandoned their style of basketball in this one too. Like they took 9 less threes than average. Like why? It's the same thing that happened in the Philly game 1. Like they played like shit on defense, and because of that, they played like shit on offense. Or if you want to say vice versa, they played like shit on offense and it translated to defense. That's fine too. Like you said, it just bleeds into one another and it leads to crap.
It's not even that. Like Miami got a couple breaks, not breaks per se. Like they executed well for, I don't know, 90 seconds in the third quarter, and then they just completely imploded. Like as soon as they got when Miami made their run and like got within 3 points, the Celtics just lost it.
Oh, I thought you said
anytime
Miami
any kind of anytime there's pushback, they just don't know what to do.
Yep.
We got very lucky as fans at the end of the Sixers series where they somehow pulled it out. In that game 6 where things were going wrong, you're up 16, things started to melt, and Tatum found his way out of a slump and then carried it over. Yep. And I guess he was pretty solid today. He was a little bit more.
I thought Tatum was good. Outside of that stretch in the fourth, I thought Tatum was real good.
He was terrible in the fourth, but
that's what I'm saying. Like outside of that stretch in the fourth, where
he was pretty dominant throughout the game.
He was getting whatever he wanted.
I'm sick and tired of these guys coming out and making things hard. Mm-hmm. This is the third series now. We cannot just enjoy a series.
And like I'll put it this way, I don't expect them as much as you would want them to sweep. Like this Miami team's good. Like I think I said it would happen in 6. I think like you didn't give a prediction, but I can imagine you probably think 6 or whatever. But like you're gonna lose games in a series if you predict that. But that's not the problem. The problem is losing them in the way the Celtics lose the games, right? If the Celtics played a hard-fought battle and Jimmy Butler just makes some shots, like the Heat game earlier this season where Jimmy Butler just hit like a crazy shot to put it into overtime, then hit another crazy shot over Jaylen Brown, like that's a loss you can live with in the playoffs. Obviously, you want to win them all, but like that's a loss that's like, okay, this is why it's going to be a 6-game series. This is the loss that makes you question whether or not the Celtics are going to win the series at all, right? And obviously, like, this happened last series, and I would argue game 1 against Philly was more concerning than this one because they didn't have Embiid and because James Harden went berserk and because they were completely lost on defense in that one, right? Like James Harden was getting every once, and as much as they were bad defensively in this game, like I would say like 30% of this was Miami just being red hot and 70% defense. 90% of game 1 against Philly was the Celtics just not knowing what the hell to do against James Harden. Like Jimmy Butler was 12 of 25, made a million mid-range shots, was diming up his teammates, 7 assists. And were there problems? Absolutely. But like, you're just not going to win games. Excuse me, if you don't try on defense. And Marcus Smart had a quote about it. Sorry, I have something in my throat. I'm dying. Marcus Smart said, somebody asked him like, what adjustments do you need to make? Like what changed in the second half? What did Miami do better? He goes, the only thing we need to adjust is picking up our physicality and playing some damn defense. And it's like, yeah, no shit. Right? Like, yeah, that's what you need to do.
I'm so sick of the quotes. And I'm not like mad at you, but like I hate when they lose just going through and seeing them say the same shit. Like, I don't care.
What do you expect them to say? I'm not like saying you're wrong, but like there's only so much you can say when you do the same shit over and over again. And the answer,
I don't want them to say anything anymore. I want them to actually do something about it.
I know.
Like just because you had a really great showing at the end of the Philly series doesn't mean you should forget why you had to have that showing.
Yeah.
You should remember, hey, we screwed around. We're lucky that Philly's a bunch of losers and they quit on themselves. This Miami team isn't going to quit on themselves. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
They were an 8 seed. They looked like they were dead. God forbid if anybody goes and watches that stream we did during the play-in. We're just trashing them. But they're here because they believe in themselves. Yep. You don't need to just give them a boost in confidence even more. This is a game you kind of had. You played an excellent first half. You came out and kind of started the second half pretty well, too. You went up 13, and then you melted. So there you go. You wasted a good, I guess as Joe would say, 3/4 of basketball. You wasted it.
Yeah.
Great. Now you have to win 4 out of 6. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would say this is a game where they beat Miami, so that makes me feel a little bit better. I think Miami kind of won this one. It wasn't the Celtics like kicking it away. They didn't have it and then give it away.
That's what I'm
even
saying.
though it
Like
was pretty close.
how it's different from game 1 against Philly. That's what I'm saying. Like it felt a little more like, all right, they were hot. And if it makes you feel any better, and it shouldn't because the Celtics played like shit, but like knock on wood, and maybe I sound like an idiot because Bucks fans are probably saying the same thing. Like they're not gonna shoot fucking 52% for a whole series from 3.
Well,
Like, and as much as they're like they can shoot 45%, 40%, but like they're not gonna make fucking half their threes in a series. So maybe you take some solace in that. But the
if you give
Celtics
them
just
wide
have to do a
open
better
ones, they
job.
might.
Even then. But like regardless, Celtics just have to close out better. They have to execute better. They can't. The biggest thing for me was Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler just completely attacking Rob at all times. And maybe that's why Rob didn't play a ton. I thought Rob was great to start the game. Obviously, he was fine. But Philly was relentlessly going at him on defense, right? And they were attacking him. And because Rob jumped so easily on the perimeter, they were getting whatever they wanted. They were getting to the foul line. They were making mid-range buckets. They were shooting over him because he was either jumping and they were getting past him and he was fouling them, or he was staying home, not jumping, and they would just shoot over the top of him. So they were attacking that. Maybe the answer is you treat Jimmy like Joel Embiid, where you send a double. But when they did that, there wasn't enough help or rotations to cover the shooter. And so
Jimmy's not a loser.
yes, sure, fair. But you got to find a better game plan on defense.
You're getting to the point in the playoffs where you can't screw around anymore. Like Miami they're an 8 seed. My God, ESPN gave them a 3% chance. Woo.
Bozos.
They're in the conference finals for a reason. They beat Milwaukee. They beat up on the trash Knicks. Like, you can't just keep screwing around with this team. You should know that. This is the third time you've seen them in 4 seasons. They beat you in the bubble. They really should have beat you last year after you screwed around in Game 7 and almost lost.
Yep.
How many times do you have to learn, whether it's from them, from other teams in this playoffs? Maybe it's because they keep getting away with it. I don't know. This feels different. You screw around with Miami enough, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
They're too well coached. They have smart players on the floor, and they have guys that have done it before, and they've been successful.
I'm so sick of it's Joe Mazzulla's fault. Like, he didn't coach a great game. I'll sit here and say I complained for 10 minutes about play Grant Williams or Peyton Pritchard. Timeouts weren't great, but like, just it's the fucking laziest shit in the world, man. Like it's never been more clear that it's an effort issue. It's a consistency issue. It's the players on the court making the problems. It's the fact that they decide to go tunnel vision and call their own number a million times, driving in the paint and turn the ball over, right? Jaylen Brown fucking dribbled into Jimmy Butler at one point in the game. Like, at a crucial point in the game? Like, what are we doing? They're leaving shooters. I guarantee you the game plan Joe Mazzulla drew up was not, let's just leave Max Strus in the corner with no help there. Like that's just not it. They're calling their own number. They called it a defensive breakdown when Jaylen Brown left James Harden in the corner last series. It's never been more clear that it's the player's fault. And yet all we hear about is fire Joe Mazzulla. This guy sucks. I saw something on Twitter today that said they got better as a team, but they brought in Mazzulla and now they're worse this year than last year. I'm like, they're objectively not worse this year than last year. They won more games in the regular season. They didn't sweep the first round, obviously, but like they went to 7 in the next 2 rounds. Like, what the fuck do you think this is? They didn't sweep the playoffs to the finals last year. I'm so sick of that discourse. You can critique Mazzulla. He deserves criticism. I just did it for, like I said, for 10 minutes. But like looking at that and seeing Joe Mazzulla as the main problem here is absolutely obscene. Ridiculous.
Yeah, he's not the main problem. He's not out there playing. He's not out there turning the ball over. Really. I mean, that was the Achilles today. The missed shot. I mean, the Celtics still shot 52% from the field. Like, they were fine. They might not have created the looks you want, but they turned the ball over 15 times. And 10 of those came in the second half. So that's where you lost the game. Miami, 1 turnover in the second half. Big difference. It's loser stuff. Things got hard for you, and you just wilted. It was nothing we haven't seen before as fans. And you have to go out in game 2 and win now, and we all have to sit here and sweat. I was thinking maybe this would be different. Really, I hate to say it, I thought this might be an easy series. I told this to you after the game,
and I said
it's not because I don't have respect for the Heat. I just thought these guys might have figured out that they have to like just keep their foot on the gas. Like,
that's where you went wrong.
The last couple games against Philly, it was like, wow, like this is different. The defense is there the whole game, even though they sucked offensively in game 6 until Tatum learned how to play again.
Yep.
They were in that game because they were defending. They won game 7 and broke it open because of the defense
Mhm.
and because Philly quit. I was like, wow, maybe they'll come out against Miami. Nope. 28 points, 29 points, 46 points. They only allowed 20 in the fourth quarter, so I guess you can be excited about that. But even then, that was so much harder than it needed to be. And if you really want to get upset, they could have taken this game in the fourth quarter. They melted. Tatum had 4 turnovers this game. He had the 3 travels. You can say it's not on him because I thought he was fine as a whole, and my YouTube TV went out when he melted, so I don't really know. I didn't see it.
It was 2 travels in a row, and then he just sort of got stripped by Jimmy Butler. That 3-minute stretch for Tatum was bad, but the rest of the game, I thought he was the best player on the court, the court, not on the Celtics, the court. And to be honest, as much as people are going to only remember that 2-minute stretch, he didn't have the ball enough in this game. There was too much Malcolm Brogdon can't be taking 3 less shots than Jason Tatum. That's just not a recipe for success.
True.
I don't care.
That's a fair complaint.
It doesn't make any sense.
I truly think the Celtics are at the best when Marcus is making decisions with the ball.
And if Marcus doesn't have it, I think Tatum needs to be making decisions. I think he's the second best playmaker on the team. And he only had 1 assist tonight. You could say, he wasn't good enough. It's because Jaylen Brown had the ball more than him.
Yeah,
that's just what
I
it
agree
is.
with that. I think the Tatum assist might be a good measuring stick for how well the team's playing, because those Tatum assists are not the set plays. I feel like Marcus gets more assists, albeit he is creative. He does make reads and things like that, but it's in pick and roll. It's in positions where he's supposed to be passing the ball.
Yep.
It's not because he's making decisions on the fly. This might sound real stupid if I'm wrong, but when Tatum is getting assists, it's because he's commanding the defense's attention, because he's doing dominant things as a superstar. That makes it easier for all the other guys on the team. That's where the extra threes that you're looking for come from. This just kills me. They did fine offensively. If they just play defense, they win this game, despite all the issues.
Partially, yeah. I just think they were bad.
Miami made tough shots, yeah, but oof. I mean, you got 29 free throws. You missed 7.
You could say that for everything, though. And I think defense is the thing you start with, but if they
can control defense, that's why you start with it.
You can control what shots you take too, is my point, though. Well, and I don't want to sound like I think offense is more important than defense, because obviously defense was story, but I just don't like diminishing the fact that
you can't always control if the shots go in. That's the thing.
They did the same thing that I complained. It's not about the shots going in, though. It's about the shots they're taking. No.
They have to go in.
I'm not complaining about the so you're saying if they took 9 more threes, they're going to go 0 for 9 on those threes? That's just not I'm not complaining about
if they took 9 more threes, they'd make 3 more.
I'm not complaining about the number of shots. Yeah, and then they win the fucking game.
Well, those threes
by that
take away
logic,
from the 2s, you'd probably lose a couple. It'd be about the same. I don't know.
My point isn't the shots they're making. My point is the shot they're taking.
It's easier to come back.
And that's fine, but my point isn't the shots they're. It's the same thing I said after the Philly series, and the same thing that happened in Brooklyn. They found so much success going inside that they just stopped doing anything else. They just drove to the hoop, and you know what that led to? 6 Jaylen Brown turnovers, Malcolm Brogdon going tunnel vision and taking dumb shots at the rim. Right, they didn't kick out in this. I wonder how many threes they take in the second half. I'll look like a real fucking idiot if they took more in the second half than they did in the first half. But so it was about half. It was 16, even. But it just their shot mix was completely off. And as much as the defense was obviously the main issue, this is the same exact story we saw in Game 1 against Philly, only maybe a little bit easier to accept because Miami was so hot.
I hate this point. I truly hate it. But to it, I would say the Celtics need to find a way to make it when they get inside, it's not a bad thing. Because some bad losses have come when they're able to get to the basket and then they aren't able to adjust. It's the same when the threes aren't going in and I'm like, they need to do something else. When the other team, coached by Spoelstra, who's going to make adjustments, makes an adjustment, you need to adjust. So if that means driving and kicking, then sure, fine. But at the same time, when the shots don't fall or things get a little rocky, you don't give up 46 points in a quarter.
Yeah.
Let's say, I don't know, they only give up 35 points in the third quarter, which would still be terrible. You win this game. All you have to do is not be the absolute worst. We're back where we started a year ago. It's the
You want to hear
same.
something freaky?
Different. I don't care about the date. Shut up. I don't want to hear it.
No, not
They
the date.
blew the same lead on the same
It's
day,
like the
in
same
the same
score,
game. Yeah, I don't care.
But the third quarter is
wanna
the
hear
point
about
I was
last
making.
year.
They did the same shit in the third quarter.
Yeah,
in
they
that
suck
game.
in the third quarter always,
Yeah,
except in game 7 against Philly. They always suck in the
Magically.
third quarter.
Yeah.
This is no surprise.
Man, it's just this like I feel like we had this
You're now
conversation.
down 1-0 to a team that has a killer mindset.
Yeah.
That isn't a bunch of losers like Philly.
This is the I was gonna say this is the exact conversation we had after game 1 of Philly. The only difference is I trust Miami to maintain it. I didn't trust Philly, and we'll see what happens from here.
I don't know. I mean, the Celtics can come out and blow them out on Friday. Who cares?
Maybe they will. I wouldn't be surprised, but
we joke about Miami's home arena, but they haven't lost there yet. And
you know what's annoying? Did you see the Bill Simmons tweet? No,
yeah,
no
the Celtics
other
are like the only team that loses at home.
No other team in the playoffs left. Lakers, Nuggets, Heat has lost at home yet this postseason.
Yeah, these guys are losers. I don't know why they can't win at home. I see people still complaining about the crowd. Like, sorry, dude. Like, these people are restless because they can't trust these guys.
Yeah. The crowd was popping when the Celtics were doing good stuff. Put it that way. But
I don't know what you want out of the fans that probably paid like 2 weeks worth of working to go to this game today, and then they can't trust these guys when they go up double digits. Like, yeah, I'd be like a little antsy too in my seat.
You know what? Maybe it was Bill Belichick. Patriots loser mentality for the past 2 seasons was bleeding onto the court.
I don't know. I'm so sick of watching these guys just make it hard on themselves. Because you just did it 2 series in a row. It was harder than it had to be against Atlanta.
This is the same conversation we had after game 1 of Philly. This is the exact same conversation we had.
Yeah.
Same one.
Shame on me for thinking they'd learn. I was like, maybe they'll come back and be like, listen, we have the opportunity to come out. And I said to you and Tim before the game, I was like, you really want to win game 1 because this is a Miami team that has won both the game 1s in their first 2 series in the playoffs. And it's helped them get the upper hand. You can't give these guys an upper hand.
Yeah.
There has never been just the please win a championship more than this year, and they're really screwing around.
Yeah.
I can't get over it.
I will say, as much as you hate it, as much as you hate the post-game quotes, I like and dislike the fact that they're so blasé about it. Because like from when they lose, it's like, this is fucking annoying, care more. But at the same time, it's also good that they're not like dwelling on the loss. Does that make sense? Like at least they're, they take it a game at a time. I don't know. I'm trying to pick out some positives here. There's just not much for me to go with.
It's annoying. And the stupid quotes are annoying too, because they're just empty. They're empty quotes. And sure, these guys have to talk to you guys after the game. Make you guys ask different questions. That's my response. Not you. It's not on you. It's on them for playing the same way over and over again to where you have to keep being like, what happened tonight? And they're like, well, we didn't try in a conference finals game.
Well,
it's literally what Jalen said. He was like, yeah, we played like it was a regular season game. Why would you do
Jaylen Brown's quote on game 1? Jaylen Brown, he was asked about like Marcus Smart talked a lot about physicality during his press conference. So Brown was asked about, what does it take? What happened with the physicality? Blah, blah, blah. Jaylen Brown goes, it's a choice. It's a decision. Just come out and play with a different mentality. We came out too cool. It was almost like we were playing a regular season game. It's the Eastern Conference Finals. Come on. Yeah, Jaylen, come on. Like, what the fuck? And he obviously was like,
so do you guys get paid bonuses if you have to play extra games? Is that why you do this?
He was obviously like not blaming the team. Like he was like, it's on me. It starts with me, blah, blah, blah. But like, no shit, Jaylen. Like, let's see it then. Like you say the same crap after every loss. After every loss, it's like this. And it's
Jaylen was great at the end of the Phillies series.
Yeah.
And then you just had 3 days off. When you need time, I don't know. You don't know what to think with these guys. I believed in them before this game. They fooled me again. I was like, wow, that was really impressive what they did against Philly. They really found their stride, and they came out and they blew the doors off in game 7 just like I would want. And I was like, maybe they'll be like, wow, that ruled. We didn't have to sweat out the game 7. We shouldn't put ourselves back in that position again. Maybe we'll try to start the series against Miami.
You know what they say, fool me once, man. You saw it in the
Yeah.
Atlanta series. They were hot at the end of that game, and then look, boom. All right, fool you twice, boom, back at it. And you know what? If this goes 7 and they win game 7 in dominant fashion, you bet your fucking ass they're losing game 1 of the finals. Just know.
But
Telling you now.
It would be nice to win against Miami first.
Yeah, we'll start there. But
literally win a single game.
we'll wrap here. We can call it. It can be.
I'm exhausted. I'm miserable. I'm mad that they lost. I'm mad that I'm tired. I truly could not be more unhappy.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Leave us some ratings on Spotify and Apple. Follow the pods there, and I'll let Sam wrap us up.
Yeah, thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. Follow the socials. I'm exhausted. It's all on the screen. Thanks, bye.
Tic-tac-toe. Come on.